Mastermind, every move's never steady. Like this walls with the soul of an eddy. New blood in my veins. No shackles or chains. This king is wild. I'm built for the pain. I always rise. I shine when it rains. Please recognize. Watch me shine. Watch me shine.
Hi everyone.
Watch me shine.
I had to make myself a zone, I had to prove a point. I guess I'm not as selfish, stuff my clothing up a joint. The point of no return, I face my bad, is lost and won. So now it's time to shine, I show these haters I ain't done.
Talking about marking the factor down to the wall is my time. Fire. Success, matching show this tires burn. Get the last night and on the run, and it ain't no fun. If a brother don't stun, and how me I'm the one girls wanna have fun. Just staying by my side, she ain't leaving till it's done. Years ago, so
because my time has just begun.
Talking about reimagining waste, sustainable solutions for the Nigerian fashion industry. Like I said, this is one of the global activities put together to mark the Fashion Revolution Week, which is a yearly remembrance of the Brenner powder factory collapse, which killed 1,138 people, killed more than another 1,024 people. So this year is going to be good year, and focusing on interconnectedness of human rights and the rights of nature. So I have with me here 4 amazing women doing some phenomenal things in the fashion industry, and especially as it relates to fashion sustainability. So I'm going to start with Ijoma Wizu. She's the CEO. Jamaka Wizu. She's the CEO at Diakwucloth and the founder Thriftyslayer. I also have with me Folua Awine here. She's the creative director at LapizuliDesigns, and Rita here, MD the Ecobarter company, making a lot of beautiful things from waste. And of course, last but also very important is Molekor Adeyinka Covenant at Swap Party and personal stylist and wardrobe consultant at Style by Molekor. Thank you all ladies for coming.
We're
just going to discuss and have fun. This is not so serious. So please just share your ideas so the whole world is watching us. So basically, I need everyone to do an introduction of what they do. So IJ, I'm going to start with you.
Right. Thriftyslayer, and I'm founder Thriftyslayer and Diakwucloth. And basically, these are 2 ventures that focus on reducing waste and just generally empowering people. Now, Thriftyslayer is a charity shop. I call it a thrift store with a difference, because what we do is receive donations locally. And I emphasize the locally because a lot of thrift comes from the West, but ours, our donations are received locally and sold on to those who want to use them and who want to love them for longer. And that's what that's what we're about. That's what we encourage. We encourage people to not throw things away, particularly if they're still usable.
Right.
That being bored with them is not a reason to throw them away, that there are people who would still use them. And that's doing quite well. And the mindsets are shifting. And people are more inclined to buy secondhand now than they were many, many years ago.
Yeah.
Then Diakwucloth, we call it an ethical textile waste cloth. We call it an ethical textile waste cloth. And what happens basically with Diakwucloth is that we collect scraps. We're surrounded by waste.
Yeah.
We collect some of the scraps. Great. We weave them on, or we hand weave them on traditional looms. And the idea really still is to keep those things in use, keep them away from landfill. And then when we make them into garments, we focus on minimal seam garments as much as possible. So that way there isn't much cutting and we don't generate even more waste. So that's what these 2 brands do. So yes, the source of our stock or our raw materials is waste. And also locally, for Thriftyslayer, local donations.
Awesome. Great. You're doing amazing work. I can
Thank
see
you.
the designs and it's mind blowing.
Thank you.
Ife, can you tell us a bit about LapizuliDesigns?
Okay, hi, my name is Ifea Wulimen. I'm the creative director of LapizuliDesigns. What we do basically is design out of waste. So we transform waste items like plastic, wine bottles, and all kinds of different kinds of waste into decorative, wearable pieces of art and for home decor as well. So what we do really is we collect waste from different sources and we try to intercept them from before they get to landfills because we use unscratched bottles. We don't want them scratched. We don't want them looking dirty. So we source them directly from people who dispose them. And so we, using handcrafted techniques, we transform them into beautiful pieces of art like earrings, neck pieces. We also do some home decor like bottle art and different things like that. So basically, we also use it as a means to educate people about waste, plastic waste, and the impact of plastic waste in our environment. Plastic waste ravaging our environment. It's destroying our our habitat. So we need to enlighten people, using that medium. So that's what we do. Thank you.
Great. Rita. Hi. Hi. Can you tell us a bit about the Ecobarter company? I really love the name, the company.
Thank you. I love it too. Well, my name is Rita Ide, and the managing director of the Ecobarter company. So what we do at the Ecobarter company, like every other person here, is to collect waste. So we work with typically hard to recycle waste, and typically hard to recycle waste, especially plastic bags, because they are really notorious. So you see them because they're flexible and lightweight. Even when you dispose them the normal way, they fly out of your bins and then you see them on the roof. They choke lives like chickens and stuff like that. They choke the soil from transferring nutrients, and worse is even the marine life, so the fishes and all. And when these things eat the plastic bags, we eat them at the end of the day, so it ends up coming back to us. And they are so notorious and yet often neglected by existing recycling collection schemes. So that's why we work with them. We collect them and we turn them into fabric. And how do we turn them into fabric? We use local skills, mostly weaving on the weaving loom, the traditional one, and crochet, knitting, really, the way you make your cardigans and stuff. So we use these techniques and we employ or empower mostly local women too, because so women from internally displaced camps, women from low income communities, or women that have skills that are related to that but are not able to monetize the skills. So we work with those women to transform the plastic waste that we collect to fabric, and then at the end of it, we turn the fabric into new product like tote bags, shoes. We're working on different products, and now we're working on dresses and seeing how it goes. So that's what we do at Ecobarter. And so in just three sentences, we're working to reduce waste, we're working to empower women in indigenous communities, and we're working to keep traditional skills alive.
Awesome, amazing work. Molekor, our wardrobe consultant. I like that part. So can you tell us a bit about the swap party? You have some swap party consultant and all of that. So tell us about that.
Yes, actually, well, my name is Molekor.
Great.
My brand is called Style by Molekor.
Awesome.
And I'm a personal stylist and wardrobe consultant, which means I deal with a lot of people on a one-on-one basis. I go to their homes, I consult for them with their wardrobes, try and make their wardrobes suit their personalities and their lifestyles. I'm paid to do that, but I also found out that, usually when I go for these consultations, I find out that there are a lot of things in people's wardrobes that they don't use. And they are very good quality. Sometimes they tell you how much they bought them for, and so it's difficult for them to let them go. So I began to think of a way to get them to part with those things, and also profit from them. So not money-wise anyway. So the idea of the swap party started.
Great.
And I first did a little research and found out that amongst my friends, there were all
Cool.
up for it. So we started it, we do it like once every quarter of the year. I started it 2 years ago. So what we do is we create this space where women like you and I declutter their wardrobes. I encourage women to always declutter their wardrobes. So we do every 3 months. We give women time to do that. And then what they do is they bring those items they don't need anymore. But we're pretty strict on the kind of items they bring. So we make sure they are still in good shape. And if there's anything that needs to be done, cleaning and all that, they do it before they bring it. So we create that warm environment so the women can sit down, chat, talk with each other, socialize, maybe even talk about business.
Right.
But the main thing there for them is that they can swap items. It's not like give me, I give you. We create like a shop.
So you can go around and just choose. So I have this.
We have a working system. It's
okay.
a bit complex, but what we do is we value the items that the people bring, and then they are able to. We give them what we call tokens.
Okay.
So that is like what they use to shop.
Awesome. Sounds very interesting. You let us know when the next one is coming.
Yes.
Amazing work. Very inspirational. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, this is really good. How come we haven't, try this out? So let's get into the main business of today. My first question will be to everyone on the panel. How do you source your raw materials? Maybe I'll start with you, Rita.
Yeah, well, we collect from households and corporate organizations. It has to be post-consumer. So
great.
We have hubs everywhere. So we have a particular hub in Gariki Market where we work with the market women, the cleaners, and collect the plastic bags from there. We have pickup schemes where you can enroll. Just call us. We come to you to pick up your plastic waste and stuff. So yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. The interesting thing about me is that I have my sustainable partners are here.
Great. So it's a partnership that's really working.
So
awesome.
I use a lot of textile waste and plastic waste. So recently we started collecting from Ecobarter, yes, and Thriftyslayer. They collect textile waste from tailors. They use it for their local initiatives. So I collect from there and also from households in the neighborhood and all that. So we try to collect them, clean, so that we can use them. Yeah. So that's how I use them.
Right. Thriftyslayer, we get our clothes and items from the general public here in Nigeria. They donate them to us. Diakwucloth, we collect from manufacturers, production houses, tailors. That's where we get our raw materials.
Awesome. Yeah. Great. So it's like a partnership is already.
Yes. So we
yes. Okay. Great.
We share waste. We play in waste.
I can see on the. Interesting. So, Molekor, this is for you. Do you think we have fast fashion in Nigeria? Would you say we have that? Can you give us an idea of what fast fashion is and tell us if you think we have fast fashion?
Okay, fast fashion basically is a process, or should I say a process where there is a mass production of fashionable items, clothing especially, off the runway, trendy. It's mostly trendy outfits because that's mostly what's in demand. That it's made, manufactured in large numbers. And the bottom line for fast fashion is really profit. So the companies that do this, they make this outfits or this clothing in large quantities. They don't think about the
aftermath of
what it's going to cost. They just think of the cheapest way. And once you think of the cheapest way to do something, there are a lot of corners that will be cut and all that. So that's basically it. And companies who do that to meet the demands of the people. I don't know how much time I have, but if you go back in fashion, there was a time when in the West, fashion was in 4 seasons.
Okay.
So you had summer, winter,
and all of that, yes.
And all that. So when you had those, it was more controllable because people could wait for a collection. And then it was high fashion. So it was mostly a certain members of the society who shopped those items. So they were more expensive, the quality was higher and all that. But when it got to a point where the demand grew, everybody wanted fashionable, trendy outfits. These companies saw the benefit in it and they stepped in and were able to meet the demand. And then the fallout of that is where you have low paying or,
like mass production,
mass
and then
production,
there's
and then you
there's no
have
one
stuff
buying it and they discard it.
and all that.
So do you think we have that in Nigeria? Do you think
To
there's
a large
fast?
extent, no, because we don't have companies like that. And if you tailors, we mostly make clothes in Nigeria, and tailors are definitely not taken advantage of. So most people who sew will tell you that they work with agreements with their tailors who take percentages and all that. They're well taken care of. No, so I don't think, maybe with fabrics you could.
AJ, you want to add something?
No, your mic.
Okay, you might need to take your mic a bit closer.
Okay,
So
okay.
yes, that's
Okay,
better.
better.
AJ, what do you think?
What, fast fashion?
Yeah.
It's debatable. And I had this debate with a friend who's in production, and she said that she doesn't believe that there's fast fashion in Nigeria. And I tend to agree in that, like Molekor said, fast fashion, they overproduce with no care for the people or for the environment. And we don't really have that here. Here, like my friend said, her tailors are building houses from production with her. So whatever fast fashion we have is an item that is brought, or items that are imported, that are then sold on here. So no, Nigeria, we don't quite have fast fashion of our own yet. Yeah. And hopefully we won't get there.
Hopefully.
And I must add, those items, these companies bring in their items to sell. They're not even as cheap as we get. So we're going to buy a Zara product, for instance. It probably won't be cheap thing outside the country.
Right.
So we'll say we'll have more like fashion of clothes, like the ones we have on the floor. Yeah. We deal with that a lot more in Nigeria than we have more of that. Okay, we'll come back to our our setup. How do you think plastic and textile would pollute the environment? How does that work?
Okay, plastic waste is made from very complex chemicals, and because of that, it's very difficult for the material to degrade. So it takes about 450 to 500 years plus for plastic to decompose. Now we have things like microplastic that seep into the soil and damage the soil nutrients and everything like that. Yes, in the ground, groundwater. We have bottles that clog drainages and cause floods. And some of these plastics float in the sea, in the oceans and rivers, and cause a lot of havoc for the marine life. Some of these fishes now, they consume the plastic, and it ends up on our table. So a few ways that. Then textile waste, on the other hand, the dyes that are used to produce the textiles, when poured into the soil, also causes damage to the soil and the plant life and everything. So those are a few ways.
Rita,
okay, so before I answer the question on plastic waste, I would want to contribute to the fast fashion.
Great.
So I think for us, we are not producers of fast fashion, but we are definitely consumers.
We are consumers.
Definitely, because most of the clothes that we wear, I think it's more expensive to wear Ankara than it is to wear like silk and stuff. And the thing is, we don't produce them, but we import them here. So fast fashion is a process where, from the production to, consumption takes like, I think less than 6 weeks or something.
Yeah.
So you must produce all of that. And that's what we wear. So we are definitely consumers of fast fashion. I think we're consumers of fast fashion, just not producers. So for plastic waste, they're made from mostly crude oil and stuff like that. So that already makes it, and then for you to have it flexible like this, they have to add some chemicals, which makes it difficult for it to break down at the end of the day. So as Ife said, it takes us most of the plastic that we even consume, like 50% of it or thereabout, are single use. So the plastic bottles we see here, the plastic bags. So in 12 minutes, we take them off the shelf and we're done using them. we throw them into the environment and then they're there for 450, 500 years. So that's like a major way it pollutes the environment. And because again, they don't biodegrade and they're mostly flexible. So they find their way into, say, drainage ways. So they clog gutters that should allow water and back to marine lives again. So that they can easily find their way to like the deepest part. So that's the water body. So again.
Awesome. That's a lot of contribution to pollution. Okay, what do you think the average, I want everyone to give an answer to this question. So what do you think the average Nigerian can do to stop this degradation? How can they be part of this movement?
I think that the average Nigerian should make an effort to educate himself, herself. With education comes a huge part of the change that we want to make. I think that the average Nigerian mustn't be so disconnected. They must recognize, or we must all recognize, that in the things that we do, that we contribute in one way or another. So, for example, we can stop using single-use plastic. We can, instead of using these plastic bottles, and to be honest, there's no sanctimony here. Some of us are still very guilty and are trying to make the transition. Instead of the single-use plastic bottles, you can start using glass water bottles in your homes. You can, instead of throwing, clothes are not disposable. We need to learn or we need to understand that clothes are not disposable. When a garment is damaged, it would be good to fix it, mend it and continue using it. If for some reason you have clothes that you can no longer wear because you've outgrown them, you can donate them to charity shops like Thriftyslayer, or give them to your relatives, which is something that we do a lot in these parts. So there is quite a lot that us as individuals can do, but I think the key is to recognize that we contribute in one way or another to this degradation of the ecosystem, and to try to educate ourselves on how best to just stop. I think that's it.
Molekor, you want to add to that?
Yes, to add to what she said, I think I was just thinking, if we use, say, these bottles, we could find a way to educate each other. That there is maybe for people who reuse them, we find a way to take them to a collection center where people who need them or who can recycle them can get a hold of them and then use them again. It doesn't take, it's something that may not take much. Maybe sometimes they need to find an incentive to do it as, man on the street, but it's something that can be done. And for fashion as well. Thrifts, swaps, that's one of the best ways you can reuse clothes.
Great.
Better still shop your wardrobe.
Shop your wardrobe.
Shop your wardrobe. Okay. So instead of going out to buy something new, just go back into your wardrobe. Particularly if you find that you're about to buy something that you will not get, they say 30 wears out of.
I was going to say.
So if you're not going to get 30 wears out of it, you probably have something similar or almost exactly the same in your wardrobe. Go back in there and do the shopping there.
Most people are impulsive buyers.
That's
so that's what the problem is.
And then we have a lot of ashrebi. The ashrebi trend in Nigeria. So and most people don't wear their ashrebi dresses twice. They say, no, I want it on Instagram. Can't wait. Those kind of things. So
okay, before we go on the contrary to the ashrebi thing, what I am wearing is actually an ashrebi.
You see, you're a shade maker.
Right?
Right.
So what happened was I decided, look, I'm not going to make an outfit from this ashrebi that I will not wear again. In fact, those who attended would, is this not that? Because I just made something.
You have to give us a twirl. You need to.
Do you understand?
Please. Yeah.
Awesome.
Lovely.
So I just, I make things. I think that's one way we can actually help each other, ourselves, by making things that you can actually wear again. Most of the ashrebis I get, especially if it's Ankara, I just make something that, look, you know what, I'm under code, with everybody, but I can wear it again, right? Then when it comes to plastic waste and all this waste, there's this thing that Coca-Cola started doing, World Without Waste initiative, which I attended in Lagos. Starting from the establishments, they got different bins for different kinds of waste. You have the, paper waste, plastic waste, and etc. So if we can have that in our homes, and separate our waste from home so that you're not, mixing food waste with plastic waste. And if you know that people like us, use this waste for different things, you can just help from the home, separate this waste. And, so when people who collect can easily collect without having to sort this waste, and spending so much time. So it starts from the home. Besides being enlightened, we can actually start from our home and find out who are your local collectors, in the area, and, contact them. I think that's one of the ways.
Okay, so for me, I think we just all need to slow down, because everything, the fast fashion and like the reason why we have so much waste is because we want it like fast-paced and immediately. So we all need to slow down first and then just think beyond ourselves, because we are on this planet, but this is literally the only planet that supports life. So if we keep consuming the way we are consuming, right, at the end of the day, the planet won't be able to sustain us again. So again, for me, it's just, we need to slow down. And then after that, we can now start thinking about how can we do better for the environment. And I would say responsible consumption. Echoing what every other person has said, when it comes to responsible consumption, you have to consume things that, clothes that you can wear for a very long time, right?
30 times.
30, do you understand?
Right.
Then
I need to write that down.
Ditch single-use plastic. So, because the better alternative. So for even like your bottles, you can use bamboo that that at the end of life, for example, they are biodegradable.
Right.
So there's different things. Your toothbrush. So we're still talking about that. For your toothbrush, that bamboo alternative. For your plastic sponge and stuff, there are natural alternatives that would biodegrade. So I think we need to start thinking responsible consumption and just looking beyond ourselves and satisfying our needs. We need to think about the environment. So when you want to shop, that just guides you that, okay, I need to look out for stuff that are biodegradable or eco-friendly.
Awesome. And this week was World Earth Day, and it was about restore our earth. Yeah. So I also think, and they talked about climate education. So I also think it's very important to start teaching our children the right way to do these things, because once you teach them, they go with it. So if you're even going to use plastic, say, mommy, no, you don't use plastic and help. You just arrange yourself. So I think it's important that we also teach our children. Okay, so my next question, these days everybody's saying circularity, sustainability, closing the loop, sounding all, techie and very nice. These terms are being branded around and everything. Okay. Can you shed more light on the meaning of these words and how an average Nigerian can relate? It was a way of life until, industrialization. I remember all those things we used to do. You have a filter where you take water with a cup, but these days everyone wants the plastic bottle. Can you share with that?
Okay, well, my circularity, what does that mean? It just means before you even start producing, at the design stage, you've designed out waste, and you've also even designed what will happen to that product at its end of life and how it will be reused and be put back in the loop so that it just keeps going around in a loop that doesn't break. So that's what circularity is. Sustainability is when you produce something that will last for a long time without negatively impacting the environment or the people and all that. And like you said, I think about the fact that that is the way we used to be. That is the way our forebears were. They would come together in communities, in a cluster, and collaborate on projects. They would maybe say farm cotton, have their community of cotton farmers, have their community of cotton spinners, and then the weavers, and then they would collaborate and send those things to the market and get good value for them. They did not overproduce. They did not, they would produce for their use and a little bit to sell on. So that was all sustainable. So, I would say effectively that if only we would go back to the way things were done, it would be good. And for some, it's a trend. It's this thing that everyone's doing now, and people feel they need to get on board. And then for some, it's the way they've always lived. It's the way their ancestors have always lived. So for me, I would say that we should, at least here in Nigeria, look back and borrow a leaf from the way we used to, our ancestors used to do things, and see if we can go back there.
To those
That's sustainable.
Molekor, do you want to talk on that?
Well, for closing the loop, the circularity process, I think it's something that is it's a way to solve a lot of problems, but it's challenging because of all the people, all the organizations, everyone involved. I guess if it was just up to one person or one group or one organization, it would be easier. But because we have to, let's say we have to manufacture fabrics, because the brunt of everything lies on the manufacturers, I think. So if the manufacturer has to, does not take those things into consideration and does, overlooks what, overlooks what he's supposed to do. At the end of the day, the other companies involved, the other firms may also overlook playing their own part, because we have to think of things like, where do you take, everything has to go down to the final consumer. So you're telling the consumer, when you are done using this, you can take it to this place, and they will take it back from you. Let's say it's a product made by H&M, which is a high street brand. They are telling you, when you're done using this item, you can take it, bring it back to us, and we'll recycle it. Or we are telling people that you can repair whatever it is that we made, because we have made maybe the zippers, or we have made this outfit in such a way that it's easy for you to repair or fix or recycle. All those things are things that require a lot of inclusivity, and these companies have to be very deliberate. So I'd like to see companies do that, because it can be challenging for them. It will involve a lot of time, a lot of resources. So it's something that will be good to see happen. But,
awesome.
But can I just say with that there is the argument that sometimes the companies that do that are greenwashing. A situation where they come out and say, oh, we have this sustainability aspect of our brand, where yes, we'll take back this and we will recycle it and make it new. But they haven't stopped their unfair practices. They're still manufacturing in places where they're not paying the people. They're still manufacturing in places that the workers are working in very poor working conditions. And so effectively, this is what they show. And that's why I said for some, it's a trend.
Yes.
This is what they make a point of showing the world. Oh, we now have this take back scheme. It is green, it is eco-conscious, it is eco-friendly, but it's just an aspect of their line. And then they're still doing damage with a lot of the other,
Well, I think it would be nice to have, most people expect us to go from 0 to 100 when it comes to sustainability. I think it's fine to go from 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30.
Absolutely.
So I would rather have them do something
imperfectly than do nothing. But you see, the thing is, sometimes it's also really the intention behind it. And if you're going from, nobody expects anyone to go straight from 0 to 100, but if you're going from 0 to 10, you should start thinking, okay, the people that make these clothes that I sell for these t-shirts that I sell for £5, maybe I should pay them more, considering that I have made this humongous profit in the course of the year, and my CEO is going away with millions and billions too. I can share some of that. So if they were to do that, then you would know that it was genuine. For me, a lot of them are not doing that.
I really hope that consumers become more conscious and more aware and make some demands, because
absolutely,
I think consumers have the most power to actually drive sustainability and enforce companies. Because imagine, okay, I won't actually give names. Imagine two companies, right? We have the same practice, we make the same profit, and I'm motivated to go green, and we all know green is more expensive, at least on the short term, right?
Absolutely.
So that means I'm going to cut on my profit. And if consumers are not aware and they still probably just go for the other person, so that means the other person makes more profit. And businesses are set up, like normal businesses are set up for profit first. So now we are seeing the rise of social enterprises that have concern for the people and for the environment way more than profit. But regular businesses are set up for profit. They have investors that are like me and you that would
Need
down their neck for profit. So I think for me, I understand the profit angle. And I think that this whole push should be more on the consumers, rewarding companies that are going eco-friendly. Yeah,
absolutely.
To an extent, yes. But you see, the desire to make profits is something that is really, especially in the fashion industry. If you check it, Zara at one time was like one of the CEOs was like one of the richest.
Exactly.
I think fifth.
So you're seeing the kind of profits they make. And even as shareholders, if I'm showing you numbers, you guys, I can tell you, yes, we have a section, like EJ said, we have a section that caters
Taking
to that.
care of.
And you'll be fine. Your
conscience, yes, to suit your conscience.
And you'll be good, because you're like, okay, we're playing a part, we can't do everything. Because you know deep down that when you're putting these products together, you can't say you're getting fabrics from, maybe you're getting cotton from Turkey. And then, okay, let's say it's biodegradable and all that. But you're getting buttons or zippers or things from China that are not sustainable, or you're getting other parts, that. So the whole workings of it can be a bit complex for them to say they will totally commit to it. And when they look at their bottom line, they're like, let's just put one part of.
I agree.
Well, I think that this debate is something that can just go on, because frankly, I don't entirely agree. I feel that they're making huge profits that they can share it. They can pay better. They can now start to make the effort to source sustainably. And what you then find is that where the demand dwindles for those things that are not sustainable, they will go out of business. They'll stop producing them or switch. So anyway,
absolutely. Okay.
I think the other thing, like you said, consumers, we should also be responsible. We should begin to ask questions. Because we cannot control what is being produced, but we can control how we consume, and yes, how we spend and how we consume. You understand? Because sometimes this fashion industry, they bring out things and they have this thing that they know that people will buy. Okay, so they present it to us and we just buy. We don't ask questions. Okay, how did you get the fabric? What's the impact? Is it eco-friendly? What happens to the life cycle of this item? When it's over, where does it go? And there's nothing like a way. When you throw something, it goes somewhere. So that's why we have all these landfills all over the world. It's really, really bad now. And we are the people, we actually have the power, consumers have the power to control what is being manufactured when we begin to ask questions, and we have ways to enforce our demands. You understand? Yeah.
That's it. Okay, so I'm sure if we leave us, we'll keep talking about this. It's a very it's deep. Okay, so the world's largest polluters, of course, we know, is the petroleum industry, where you get the plastic from, and second one is the fashion industry that we're discussing here. So we've talked about the man on the street and what you can do to stop pollution, more awareness, try to make the right options. But what can government, like Nigerian government around the world, and big businesses do to stem the tide?
Well, for Nigeria, I don't know if they give that much attention to the Nigerian fashion industry to know what they're doing. I don't know if they've gotten to that level, but maybe regulations, maybe incentives, to make them walk the straight and narrow, I guess.
Peter.
So I think the role of government in most things is to create an enabling environment via their policies and regulations. So what can government do? Make policies that encourage grain companies, or both in the fashion industry and packaging. So I think for plastic waste, they are doing certain things at least. So there are a number of policies for plastic waste, and I saw there was a call for eco-friendly packaging solutions sometimes last year. So I think they should also take that into fashion, because when you say fashion in Nigeria, because again, we're mostly consumers, not producers. So a lot of the things that people see is on the fashion designers, the stylists and stuff, not on like the back end where the waste is being generated. So I think for government, they just need to create more policies that encourage eco-friendly production system, and then even in the waste management, so eco-friendly things. And we need to somehow just enforce a very transparent supply chain. So even if you're not producing in Nigeria, if you are bringing your products for the Nigerian market to consume, you need to be able to see, like Ife said, how did you make this? And who made my fabric? How did you pay them and stuff like that? So we need a very transparent supply chain.
Awesome. I like the part about government, because when government sets the trend, they are like the leaders. So
Yes.
we need to become more serious with the waste that is generated in the fashion industry, just like every other industry in Nigeria. So Ajay, how has the pandemic impacted your work and your business? Can you share?
Right. For Thriftyslayer, what we found at the beginning of the pandemic, and maybe even still now, is that obviously people got very cautious. So they weren't spending as much because they were watching the situation. They were channeling funds to other more important things. That hasn't changed completely as yet. People are just not spending as much on clothes. We do get people coming in to buy household items and stuff, but not too much of spending generally. Now, Diakwucloth, we started in the middle of a pandemic. And we're at the stage where we're still sampling. We haven't really gone to market with it, but we've been able to make a difference in the lives of the people who make the cloth. They're actually here. They heard we were having this today, and they said, we heard there's an exhibition. We want to come. And we said, oh, okay, fine, you can come. So they're here. And we hope that as time goes on, that people will recognize the value of the cloth. And the thing is to not look at the worth, because if you were to look at the worth, it's trash. It's just trash. But then it's not just trash. It takes a lot more to make it the fabric that it is. It takes sweat. It takes ingenuity, design, all sorts of things to bring it to what it is today, and back-breaking hard work. So we hope that at the end of it all, that it will take off.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, during the pandemic, everybody became more health conscious, or contact with things and all that. So personally, I had to put a stop on collecting wasteless plastics and all that. So I really used more of the things I had already stored. And so like EJ says, people were not spending as much, and all that. But during the pandemic, I was able to come up with other ways to, to make money. So I got into this, I started making ornaments, scented ornaments, like air fresheners for your car and all that. So I introduced it to a store and they started stocking it. So at least that kind of buffered, for me during the pandemic, and for my staff as well. And when you're doing these kind of things, you think about the people that work with you. You understand they are going through what they're going through during the pandemic as well, and you have to find a way to just keep them
work.
Yeah, make it work. Yeah, it's really, really important. And so yeah, that was the impact. But we're coming through, and we're just trying to let people understand that supporting brands like ours is actually good for the environment. Not just the environment, we're doing our best also to make them desirable and looking good
Nice.
so that they can have
Market
more
value.
eco-friendly alternatives to what they would
Normally
usually
buy.
buy. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Rita.
Okay, so for us, we had to literally lock down our workshop because pandemic happened and the country was on lockdown. So that was like the major effect for us. And again, like everybody, we work with local community women, and so they needed like welfare and stuff like that. So we had to still be there, despite the fact that the workshop was on lock. And what we make, most of the products that we make from this waste, right, the fabrics, they are mostly for outdoor stuff. So tote bags for when you're shopping, shoes for when you're going out, purses and stuff, and nobody was going anywhere, so nobody was buying anything, So that was like the major thing that happened. And right now, yeah, we're going, like, we're getting back out there. People are going and we're having gatherings like this, and so people are starting to make requests and all. But if there's any good thing that happened during the lockdown, it was the fact that so we had to move our sales, even though it wasn't happening, but we moved it online. So like we have an online store where we sell, aside from like our recycled products, so we sell other eco-friendly products that people were at least buying then, so like toothbrushes and stuff.
Awesome. Great. Molekor.
Well, for me, for the personal styling and consultations, that had to stop. Physically, I had to stop.
You didn't style anyone for PJs because during that lockdown, just see people do PJ.
Well, online, people still consulted and reached out to me, but that was online. And then sometimes I would have classes too.
Okay, great.
For people who want to learn about personal style and how to fashion out their wardrobes and all that. Then for the swap party, we definitely had to stop that because there was a hold on events. So we stopped that. And then for the rest of it, we had actually just had one before the lockdown. So we're supposed to have, like, every 3 months we have one, and we missed like 2 others until the end of the year. But in December, we decided to try one out, and I didn't really like it because, the whole COVID restrictions and everything, it wasn't as warm.
As you wanted it to be.
Yes, the people who come for the swap party, they also like the warmness, the fact that you
can interact, network,
and all that. So that's really affected it. And then this year we haven't had any yet. So we're looking maybe from May, June, something.
We're also looking forward to it. All of us. I'm sure all of us here. Actually, swap my whole wardrobe.
It's a fantastic event. So you have so much fun.
Awesome. So I think our time is almost fast spent. So we just.
So should we? Have we done an hour? Should we?
No. We still have about 10 minutes, 12 minutes.
Should we continue?
Yes, we still have about 12 minutes to the hour.
Oh, we've got 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think Rita, I think you should just give us an answer to this. What would you say about the argument that recycled plastic product is not as sustainable as it continues to release harmful, substances, microbes into the community? So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's greenwashing? I talked about greenwashing.
Yeah, I'm a very practical person.
Yeah.
I'd rather have you recycle than not recycle because there's no way we won't generate waste. Even in the responsible consumption, we would generate waste. So I'd rather you recycle than not recycle. I'll take 10 over 100 and 0.
Right, sure. Great. Thank you. What do you say?
What was the question?
Okay, so what would you say that, like, recycled plastic, like greenwashing, like it's still releasing some sort of waste?
Yeah, I agree with Rita. It's still better to recycle than not recycle at all. But I think that it's also very important that with education and advocacy, people will move more towards recycled products so that new products are not being made. I think that's the key to prevent new products from being made and to use what we already have in existence, because they will still be here for the next 400, 500 years. Yeah. So it's either you leave them at the dump site where they're causing all sorts of problems, greenhouse gas emissions, climate change. You might as well just recycle. That's my take on it.
Awesome. So what are the major challenges in starting and running a sustainable fashion business brand? And how can we make that niche more attractive? Like, what can we do So people are aware that these brands are helping the environment, like you said.
Yeah.
And also creating jobs. See all the beautiful women here that work for Diakwucloth. So
okay,
I
think for our own terrain, like Nigeria as a country, we have several other challenges that we are dealing with on a daily basis. When we talk about hunger, and all that, just lack of basic, things like education and all that, it's a very imbalanced society where we have the haves and the have-nots, and and all that. So for us to be able to succeed and thrive as sustainable brands, we need support, and we need the support not just of the government but people, and we need to be able to stay afloat, based on the kind of things we do. We're helping the environment, but we're also working hard, like I said before, to make these things appeal to people so that they can actually say, you know what, rather than buy this, I'd rather do this and support this brand, So the major challenges we have really is, that, people are not thinking of, oh, I want to go eco.
Mindset. We need to work on the mindset. People make it.
Yeah. You don't have that. So we want to encourage people to, think, because we have just one planet, what can you do as a consumer? How do you begin to make changes on your own? Begin to make small changes. It doesn't have to be big. If each and everyone can do one thing or the other to be sustainable, even from the home, like even from your home, you're separating waste and all that. So these are little ways you can use to support brands like ours. Then funding. When you do, they say, oh, you're making something out of waste. First of all, it's really waste. And so and when they look at it, but the surprising thing is, when you now show them the product, they're like, wow, you mean you did this out of this, And so that is what so one that enlighten, I want more people to be aware of what we do, and, just, so we work really hard. We do. I can tell you that it's not easy picking up what someone has used. Yeah, it's easier to just go to a store and just go and buy something. But I mean, going the extra mile to do these things is really, and we're passionate about it. If not,
we are passionate about it. We are passionate about it.
I wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So so that's it.
Rita?
So I think the major challenge is the fact that there is lack of awareness. So most people do not, so because it's like a sustainable brand or something, you carry the true cost. So your products are more expensive than what you would normally get when they mass produce, right? So, and people are not aware that you're carrying the true cost. So they think that it's just expensive for nothing coming from waste. So I think what we need to do is, one, organize ourselves properly and leverage on the media. It's a social enterprise. We're supposed to use regular business skills to advance our cost. So we should leverage on the media, try and do more ads, conscious ads that let people know why these things are better, why they are more expensive. Because the truth is, it's not that people can't afford it, they just do not see the value.
Yeah,
that's the truth. Because you tell them something is from waste and it's more expensive, they're like, but it's from waste, it's supposed to be cheaper.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why they are not buying it.
Yeah.
So I think we just need to leverage the mass media to get more people to understand like the value in what we're doing and then patronize. Because I believe that you should be able to drive financial sustainability from your customers rather than even external funding and stuff.
Right.
But again, it would be nice to have external funding.
And I think there's power in numbers.
Yeah.
When we come together as, groups like this, and empower each other, supporting and all that. I think there's also then when you're in a group, your voice is louder and you're able to do more together.
Yeah, like the threefold cord is always stronger.
Yeah, exactly. So that's.
Well, I think that Ife and Rita have pretty much said it all. But something else I would also like to say is, while we talked about what government can do, it's also important to talk about what big business can do to encourage sustainable living in our environment. And a few things that, or a matter that's very dear to my heart is I believe that fashion shows. I feel that fashion shows speak to a wide audience. You know, they reach teenagers, they reach older people, they reach everyone. And I feel that that is also a very big platform through which this message of sustainability and ethical production and, you know, reducing waste and managing our consumption, I think that that is a platform that this message can be passed, through which this message can easily be passed on and quite easily disseminated far and wide. So I feel that fashion shows should have sustainability segments. I feel that they should also, outside having designers that are sustainable in their designs, I think they do that to a certain extent, but I think they should also have secondhand designs on the runway. They should have a styled secondhand outfit or several styled secondhand outfits come out on the runway, and that should also be promoted so that people can start doing that. The London Fashion Week, they do that. You also have the big department stores. They should be able at this point accommodate or create sections where secondhand items can be sold. So I see no reason why, if Selfridge is doing it, I see no reason why the big name shops here in Nigeria also cannot do the same. And then that way, people start to get the message that it's okay. The mindsets start to shift, and you know, we start running with it.
Great. My last question, Molekor, now before you. So how can we use fashion as a vehicle to educate and drive positive change in the society? So how can we use fashion to drive, you know, as a vehicle to drive positive change? How can we use the fashion industry, the waste, the sustainability, everything, climate change and all of that to drive change in our local communities?
Yes, I think I can start from where EJ stopped.
Well, we have like less than 2 minutes, so you can just...
Okay. Fashion, runway fashion is a very good way to drive messages. So when you have runway fashion shows, you also have exhibitions at those
around
shows.
Yeah.
So those are ways that you can draw people to yourself and then pass your message on. Because I actually wanted to add that another way from the consumer, speaking from the consumer part of the fashion industry, for designers, I think presentation for Nigerian designers is very important, because I've been to a lot of fashion shows where they talk about showing us how they use waste to create fashion items. And the presentation is always like, okay, you did this and all that, but it doesn't really draw people's attention to the fact that, like, when in comparison to the ones that are not sustainable as such, you know, so people still make that choice of going to the other side. So I think
it's almost time. So we can create that awareness.
So I think the major thing there is fashion shows is having fashion shows and exhibitions is one very good way to draw, because that way you have your target audience coming to you and you can send your message.
Okay. It's been an amazing...
I think media team, can we go on? Are we constrained? At most 5 minutes?
Oh, okay, nice.
So, you know, well, I want to turn the tables at this point. I want to interview the interviewer.
Oh, wow.
So, Chisom, you are moderator here today, but we know that you're also doing quite a lot in the sustainable fashion space. And in fact, because we have only 5 minutes, I will just allow you to introduce yourself. Tell us what you do. I know about the Skilled Woman. I know about C. I know about the science and technology in, you know, part of what you're doing. So please go right ahead. Tell us.
Okay, let me start with the science and technology part.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, I'm a tech policy maker with the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. And for over 10 years, I've formulated policies in technology, climate change, environmental sustainability. But one of the most important things I've done within my time there is to be able to create a special program for fashion, because I'm in the fashion industry. I know the constraints. I know that we don't really have policies targeted at the fashion industry. So last year, we were able to create, my department is actually the Environmental Sciences and Technology Department. we were able to create a new project called the Nigerian Textile and Fashion Sustainability and Innovation Project. So it was put into the 2021 budget. That's why you haven't heard about it. And when it was approved, because when I was writing, everyone was like, "Jesus, how does fashion and science? I don't understand." So by the time I was able to put, the plastic, the waste and all of that, the climate, there's a charter on climate, fashion, climate action on fashion and all of that. Fashionomics is doing, African Development Bank is doing something great and all of that on fashion. So the truth is we actually need more policies on recycling textile waste, more policies on, buying, things that have been recycled from fashion. So we put all of that, and that's what the project is going to be doing. So it's the first phase is going to be for 5 years, starting this year. So I'm hopeful that we can share more on that. And then I also run the Skilled Women Initiative. It's called Sweeney. We provide vocational skills, access to market, financial inclusion, and entrepreneurial opportunities for internally displaced women and refugees. So my work, that's one job I'm very passionate about. I had to take some time off from my ministry to focus on that a bit, to be able to teach the women. So we teach them, first and foremost, textile recycling. We have a lot of skills, like our name says, so we teach them all of those skills, but most importantly for us, we teach them textile recycling, and then we help them sell the products and all of that. Then I also run C Luxuries. I've been doing that for quite some time. It's a fashion accessory brand. We make premium headpieces, basically. So we focus on hearts, and use textile waste. So we collect a lot of this, and then we weave them to make those hats, the hats that I'm wearing. Yes, we do a bit of earrings, like necklaces, but our major is in headpieces. So we focus on that. Basically, we're using, most of our work is made from textile waste. So we collect from all the tailors around us and all of that. So yeah, so that's the work that I do.
So you empower these women with skills that equip them to go out and work.
Yeah.
And make money for themselves and their families.
Yes.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for moderating today.
It's a privilege. We
really enjoyed this.
Amazing women that did a lot. So basically, I think we've come to the end of the session, and I'm sure you listened to the music, our soundtrack. The amazing soundtrack was.
Well, can we hear?
Can we hear a bit of that music, please? Can we? Come on.
You go. In fact, somebody should capture him dancing away.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's how we're going to be shiny from now.
Amen
to that. Yeah, so thank you. So the background music was by June. He's a hip hop artist based in Abuja. And that track was from his Beautiful Mess album. As in, like, I like the beautiful mess. Like, see, our stage is all beautiful, exactly. And all of that. So that track and all of that tracks are available on music platforms and on june.com.ng. So on this note, I'd like to say a huge thank you to Nest One for this beautiful space, this amazing space. It's called Insibidi Hall, yeah?
Insibidi Gallery.
Insibidi Gallery, like amazing. The artwork is beautiful, everything, atmosphere. Thank you, Nest One, for this opportunity. And as we go on, let's remember that this year's theme for Fashion Revolution Week is rights, relationships, and revolution. So thank you, ladies, for an amazing time. And I hope we can do this some other time. Thank you very much.
We really hope that viewers learned something today and that they would make, even if it's just one little change in the way they consume or in the way they live, just to make a difference. People like us are motivated by fear. I shudder at what I imagine would happen to the world if we continue the way we are. You know, the pandemic has given us a bit of a clue. And I'm thinking, if we're saying that what we're doing to the earth means that very soon our water sources will be depleted, all sorts of things,
wake up, I like a wake up call. So so little choices every day, like deciding not to use nylon bags to shop. You can buy
Bags
It says
from
tote bag from Ecobarter. Look at Ife's earrings, see her dress, and see IJ's skirt. Then you can call the wardrobe consultants, arrange everything, put everything together. So little choices make a difference. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank
We're hoping we
you.
can do this again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.